Hello again. You might notice a change in location and possibly difference in how I'm using the camera. It's possible I'll do this as a jump cut or as a separate video. I'm not too sure yet. But what I thought I'd do is I'd just go into detail on what these extra cards were that came with it. As I mentioned in the previous video, I paid for everything from it. It's everything from this set and everything from the last set. I'll also go into a bit more detail on how the actual decks work. Now, first of all, just start off. These 4 decks here, the Big Shot, the Gold Standard, the Rising Sun, and EDM, are all 30-card decks in and of themselves, which was actually very cool. So as you can see, that's the main character card for each one. Turn it the right way might help. And then you've got all the rest of your cards. Now, as I was saying, a bit more detail on the cards themselves. Basically, a 30-card deck is made up of 27 generic cards. Now, these are just your basic punch, lock up, headlocks. Yes, it's all going everywhere. I'm sat on my bed. I don't care. Arm bars, forearm shots, scoop slams, etc. Various wrestling moves, which we all know and love. And those are the same for every deck. Now, the only differences between the decks are the last 3, which are the finishers for each character. These are specific, as you can see on the bottom left, if you'll focus. You can see the Big Shot there, anyway, there you go. So that's the lights out, that's his strike finisher. You've got one called Shot Down, which is the finishing grapple for him. And then you've got finishing submission, which is the last word. Now each character comes with those 3. Not those 3 specific ones, but 3 finishers. Now the good thing about this is it means that you can take any other deck you want and just make your own characters, or be your own characters in it, which is very cool. As I said, these ones are complete 30-card decks like that you get in the boxes themselves. So all you'd have to do is take the finishers out, and then you can put any of these guys in, which are the special characters that came with it. Or indeed, if you only had access to some of the finishers and the characters for whatever reason, you could just do that and put it onto a deck. So it makes it very, very versatile. I've made a mess of that, but there you go. But yes, I thought I'd show you the finishers for the other guys as well. So this is the Rising Sun. Very cool. His finishers are... It looks like each character gets a strike, a submission, and a grapple, which is kind of cool. So his are the Kamikaze, Flying Headbutt, the Sunset Suplex, belly to back German by looking at it, and the Circle of the Sun. Ooh, very nice. Almost like a chicken wing hold on that one. But yes, then you've got the Gold Standard here. Very, very cool. His finishers are the Price Point, Leaping Axe Handle, Uneven Exchange, T-Bone Suplex, I think, and the 49er Armor Grinder. Got all the arm bar and that. And again, they all come with different rules and such. So your opponent's first and second breakout rolls are -1 for each card you haven't played with arm in the name. So in his deck, he would have, if you had any, like if you had a lead and a follow-up with something like arm bar or arm drag, that would add an extra -1 to your opponent's kick-out attempts from that move. Then here's the EDM. And you see each character has their own... I meant to pick this up before as well. Each character has their own special rule. These come into play during the course of the game. So in this case, when your opponent's turn roll is 10, you can draw a card. So if, as we mentioned earlier about the actual turn rolls, if they rolled the dice and it came up as a 10 for them, bang, there you go. That's your... You get an extra card from that. On the Big Shots, for instance, it's once per turn. If your opponent rolls a submission, again, so if they're rolling for either the finisher or for a turn on that one, you may force them to re-roll on it. Also very cool. So, EDM's finishers, just before we go. We have the Dubstep, +5 to strike. So if you did roll strike for him, that would give him an instant 10, as you can see, for his finishing thing on that. But your opponent also buries 1 random card in their hand, which is where they take a card from the hand and put it on the bottom of their deck. So the Beat Drop, you get +4 to power, and if you roll a strike, draw 1 card. So in that case, you get 1 of 2 bonus on that. So if you roll power for his move, it also goes up to a 10. But if you roll a strike, you get to draw a card instead. So gives you a bit of hand advantage. Then you've got the Tearing Up the 1s and 2s. If your opponent breaks out of it, add it back into your hand. Very cool. So yes, so that's... I'm sorry I keep pointing this off of the bed there. It's not very interesting just to look at my floor, but there you go. Right, so... Yeah. So as I said, the cards are pretty generic otherwise. So if you look at things like this, you'll see the different characters on them. So you've got Headlock there, which has the Rising Sun and someone else. I don't actually know on that one. Then you've got one of those who's got Snake Pit on it. Again, I think that's El Super Hombre and Snake Pit on there. Again, just to show that they're the generic cards. Now, the special cards that came with it are kind of cool. So you've got characters here. You've got Razzle Dazzle, the roller derby kind of girl. Her ability is when you have a strike, grapple, and submission in play, your strike, grapple, and submission skills roll +1. Very cool. Come here. Let's do it this way. Next time I'm doing this on a flat surface. Right, so her finishes are Shoot the Duck. Last leg drop. The Bedazzler. Very cool. And again, the best thing about these things is that these are special characters. So you could just put them straight into a game just by having 27 other cards of the other deck. All you'd have to do is take out the character card and finisher cards from that deck, and you can replace them with something like Razzle Dazzle. So yeah, that's the figure skate. Bring a little figure 8 logo there. Dan the Devil's Advocate Williams. When you bump, your opponent draws 1 card and your turn roll is instead of +1. So when you bump is when you're rolling for your turn, if you both roll the same, you both draw a card and then re-roll, I believe. I do have to double check that though, because I only looked at the preliminary rules quite some time ago. Yeah, so in this case, your opponent would draw 1 card, and instead of you drawing the extra card, you get +1, so you would get the turn. His finishers are the Split Decision, Spinebuster, Hung Jury, as I mentioned before, Tree of Woe, and Final Verdict, which is, if you find this quite hard, looks like a kind of calf crusher kind of move, very cool. Right, and he also came with a character called Rage, who I'm not too sure who he is. This might be... don't think this was one of the creator wrestlers, although I'm not too sure because the Kickstarter had a creator wrestler campaign in it, you see. But I mean, there's some moves in here which are... this box also came with this package, and also came with just some additional moves to throw in if you want. So that's a Filibuster finisher, Camel Clutch finisher. You'll notice they don't have the little label on the bottom, so they can be used by anybody. Atomic Splash finisher. So again, these can be used by anybody. You could put them on any deck that you wanted to do. Stalling Suplex, follow up grapple. There you go. Also, it came with delayed atomic drop. It also came with new crowd meter cards. Now, see, crowd meters, I don't know if I pointed it out before, but in the decks, basically, the 2-box decks come with a crowd meter. And what they do is, when you kick out the finisher, it plays up 1 level. And it makes the finishers harder to kick out of. Now I think about it, I probably did actually mention that. Oh dear. So yes, these ones are special ones, though, for use in a steel cage. So as you can see, stipulation, cards in discard pile cannot be moved to any other location. Max hand size 6, no disqualifications. Special finish, a player escapes the cage when they have no playable cards in hand and no cards in their deck. That is also a win condition of a count out, which is quite cool. Yes, that's those special cards from that pack there. Then one of the... these were the special characters from this series, the Dan the Devil's Advocate and Razzle Dazzle. The ones from the last series are also in here as well, and that's the Donation. Start your turn, search your deck for the card Kick and put it into play. And his finishes are the Pledge, Special Delivery, and the Stretch Goal, which is quite cool. Also, the other female wrestler in this is Mysterious. On your turn, when your opponent plays a stop, draw 1 card. Her finishers are the Bullet Catch, the Alka Slam, and the Table of Death. Very cool. But yes, I mean, that's what came in the additional packaging. It's very cool. As I said, I'm going to look forward to playing this. I'm going to round up my friends and get them to sit down and play this with me. But yes, I just thought I'd go through, hopefully with better camera work, but as it turns out, not so much. I thought I'd just go through what was in the special packs. Thanks very much.